Okay, I think we're
Hi
good.
guys, it's me Boog.
And Dad!
And today we're gonna be reviewing the new Zelda game, Tears of the Kingdom, which me and Dad defeated last night. Right, Dad?
Right. We finally got through it in world record time for me and Boog. Um,
Or at least in the Zelda
yeah,
series.
I think, best of my calculations, we got it on release day. So it took us about 3 months.
Yeah.
Sound right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we just wanted to give you a few thoughts on, what,
And we're putting it all out there, Dad.
yeah,
Well, not exactly all of it, but all of our thoughts out there.
yeah, what we thought, I guess, review of the complete game. Because we played through the whole story mode, a lot of side quests too.
Yeah.
So I think we've played enough to give a good review, probably close to 100 hours.
Yeah.
Haven't checked the totals lately, but I know we're somewhere in
Let's
that
take a
ballpark.
check for it.
Probably a little plus.
We'll be right back, Dad. We're gonna go. Okay, we're back.
Drum roll.
We have put 130 hours into Tears of the Kingdom so far.
Wow. Yeah. So I think that's good enough to give us a good solid review here of our takes, opinions,
Our
uh,
hot takes,
right, what we think, kind of compared to Breath of the Wild. So anyway, let's just
and
get going.
also we're just gonna start with if any of you watching this disagrees, leave your comments down below.
Okay.
And if you have a problem with our opinions,
Yeah, we'd love to hear what you guys think. So yeah, just leave it in the comment section. I'll let Boog go first. Go ahead, Boog.
and for some reason, if you have a real personal vendetta against me and Dad for our opinions,
What?
yeah, some people like to have that where they get very angry and other people don't have the same opinion as them.
Well, they don't have to watch it. Yeah. So anyway,
Yeah,
go
but
ahead.
still.
Give your
Anyway,
give your opinion.
um, well, we're gonna start with the good, the bad, and the butt-offs.
Okay.
So we're gonna start off with the good. So Dad, you'll start.
Um, let's see. Well, I loved it. I mean, I thought it was absolutely awesome. It's great.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I said, I guess as far as everything I loved, was everything I loved about Breath of the Wild. The exploration, the art style, love, gameplay mechanics I love, the fight mechanics I love. Just like I said, it's all just great. So many side quests, so many things to do. You can
Yeah.
get lost for hours just doing one little thing.
As we
It's
did.
just yeah, as we did multiple times, obviously with 130 hours in, and still haven't completed everything. Um,
Maybe one day we'll
yeah,
100% this
uh,
game.
this particular game, a story mode was fantastic. I love the story mode better than Breath of the Wild. As far as kind of where they went with it, they kept you, kind of going along. Breath of the Wild was more like you had to go take those photographs and find all those memories to put it together. This was a little more straightforward. They kind of fed it to you as you moved along with the story, which I did like that part better versus Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
Um, as far as negative goes,
So we have to
I
start. We
mean,
have to go with. So we start with the bad. So not the absolute butt offs, but
okay, so yeah, I guess like you said, I love the ending was fabulous. Like I said, I know there was dragons in the first game, but there's a lot more interactions with dragons in this game. They're a bigger part of
yeah.
the story, which I
At,
love that.
at least no one
Um,
figured it out if there was more.
yeah, I think like you said, it's like they kept all the elements that were great in the first one, and just added a few more.
Yeah.
Um, the difficulty level, I felt like the difficulty level was a little lower in this game. Felt like Breath of the Wild was harder. Now that could have been because I really didn't know what I was
Well,
doing in Breath of the Wild, so it took me a lot longer. Or
another thing is, I feel like the bosses, at least like the ones like the not the Ganon fights, but the other four like in the temples, they seem to rely on more annoying than difficulty.
yes, yes, where flat out some of the blights were just
So
difficult.
yeah,
And I said the same thing with, I guess, whatever we want to call the dungeon areas.
the
I'll just
temples.
call them the dungeon, the temples, versus the divine beasts. Divine beasts were tough. Doing that puzzle, turning those things all the different ways, that was very, very difficult. Didn't feel like it was difficult this time to get through the temples. I mean, they had some good tricks, but other than that, it wasn't
It's
too
pretty
too
it's
hard.
pretty much something. It's like Like it pretty much just disappears from your memory right when you're finished with
Yeah,
it.
which I appreciate that. I mean, either way, it's kind of like I like difficulty to an extent, but then when it gets to the point where it's so hard, that you immediately just have to go to YouTube to figure out how to do it. And then sometimes it still doesn't make sense. Maybe it was a little too much. Maybe that's what they thought, and they kind of toned it back a little for this one. I don't know. But anyway, I just know we used YouTube a whole lot less on this one than we used it on the first one. Probably wouldn't have never got through the first one without the YouTube on it.
So let's go through the categories. So we'll start with the characters.
Characters.
So
Okay.
so I guess we'll start with Link.
Yeah.
So pretty much just go over what you think about Link, I guess,
He's
in this
great as
game.
always. I mean, it wasn't really different than Breath of the Wild. He just his hair was longer,
Yeah,
so I like the new arm thing mechanic. That was cool.
yeah,
We're still talking about the good things, right?
yeah.
So yeah, he was great.
Okay, and then Zelda, obviously.
Great.
Yeah, pretty much that ties it to the story. Oh yeah, and also spoiler warning, it's about to happen. All right, tell them about the dragon stuff. Everyone who already left, didn't want spoilers left. So
Dragon stuff. What do you mean?
yeah, you know how Zelda turns to a dragon.
Oh yeah, I don't really get that. I don't have to get that deep into it. I don't think, but we don't have to just tell them. I mean, they'll play through it and know it. Like I said, the
Yeah,
dragon stuff was just amazing. I think
yeah,
that's good enough to say.
yeah.
Yeah, all the way around. Ending
Um,
was awesome. Yeah.
yeah. So and then is there any other characters you wanna? Oh yeah, Ganon. So what? So,
Ganon was different this time. We actually got him in some sort of a form.
yeah, human
Um,
form, I guess.
versus everything else was kind of like Phantom type Ganon, or
Yeah.
in Breath of the Wild, they were all different versions, Lightning Ganon, and so on and so forth. But we got the real deal this time, I think. Um, so that was cool.
And then the next category will be the boss battles.
Okay. I enjoyed them. Liked all the main bosses. They were fun. Like you said, they were a little annoying, but not too difficult.
Yeah, for Zelda in particular, I kind of feel like it needs to be more like I feel like at the end of a boss, um it should be like yes, finally. And then in the other one it's like so pretty much it's like you're glad that you won because it took so long because the boss was difficult.
Right.
And then in this one where it's more annoying, it's like finally it's over.
Right.
You're like you want it to be over.
So you felt like you
Like
weren't having as much fun
yeah,
battling them. It was just more annoying.
yeah.
I can understand that.
Okay. Next, so I guess we'll go over all the bosses. So we'll start with like the like bug ice thing.
Yeah, Tulin's
Yeah,
area
Tulin's
where
boss.
it was great. He looked different, looked cool. I like, how you had to solve his little puzzle,
Even Dad
flying
did,
through the middle.
even though make sure to watch that live stream. Dad did embarrassingly mess up probably more than he should have, but
Probably because it wasn't that hard, but yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, and then after that we did Sidon's one where it has it's like the gunk shark thing.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, and that was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I can
like
already tell by going back to Tom this the bosses I will say the bosses weren't as memorable as Breath of the Wild.
yeah,
Maybe because it just didn't have to face them as many times, didn't lose that many times, so I kind of forgot
yeah,
about them.
yeah.
It was I'd forgotten about them. Won't give too many spoilers, but at the end of the game, you get to
And we
see him
already gave them
again.
a spoiler warning,
Yeah,
so
at the end of
yeah.
the game, you get to see him again, and I kind of already forgotten about them. But they were, like I said, they were cool. But I think the fact that I didn't spend as much time on them as I did
Yeah,
in the first game.
your dad actually like got excited, like a new boss. I had to tell him we already fought these people.
Yeah, yeah,
Anyway,
right.
and then after that we have like we did the crab eyeball guy.
Yes, yep, yep,
Yeah, that one was probably one of the more fun ones.
yeah. I enjoyed that one.
And then the bug one. That like I kind of feel like um MSM kid, shout out to you. He kind of really hyped this battle up, and then it kind of fell on its face. No disrespect to MSM kid if you're watching, but
You
yeah,
didn't feel like it was good as he did.
Well, he kind of hyped it up more than it actually was.
Well, everybody has different opinions. He may
Yeah.
have really enjoyed it. Maybe you just didn't. Yeah,
Well,
that's okay too.
it was more like let's see. It was more like he was like warning us about it and making, and it kind of made me think that it was gonna be like extremely difficult, but it wasn't for us at least.
Yeah, and again, it could have been our fault because in the original game of Breath of the Wild, we were learning, didn't understand a whole lot about the armor and the different attack ups you could get with your Master Sword, but
So pretty
we
much,
didn't have a lot of the armor, the defense. So when we fought a lot of these bosses in Breath of the Wild, we were basically fighting them.
Dad was in his
Um,
t-shirt and underpants trying to
yeah,
face
I mean,
Ganon.
yeah, fighting them and just the beginning material. I mean, we completed all the
Or I
quests. We didn't
guess
just go straight
this.
to them, and we had a good many hearts, probably 10 or 12, and a lot of food. But that was it, you know.
No,
And of course,
now you had
we had our
to
four powers from.
you had to have more than that because you had the Master Sword. You had to have 13
Okay,
to get the Master
so
Sword.
whatever that minimum was, that's probably what we had, 13, and
Yeah.
then we had the four powers from the four divine beast champions, and that was it.
And Dad didn't even know how to use
Yeah,
two of them
right.
when he faced Ganon for the first time, and then Dad realized how like it's not as difficult as it
Yeah,
was when he had like the full armor upgrade and
and
our underpants
when we were
from.
actually beating the boss of the Divine Beast, we didn't have the Master Sword because you didn't have to
Yeah.
require it. So we had even less then. So it was just a much, much tougher battle with all those different forms of Ganon. And we fought them, spent many hours just fighting the bosses then. Where in this game, we probably beat them within, 15, 20 minutes.
Which when it comes to a
Didn't have to
boss,
face many of them even twice, I don't think. It was just,
yeah.
most of them was pretty quick.
So let's get to it.
Okay.
Okay, wait, we have to talk about Ganon now with the final boss, Ganon.
Um, okay. Uh, I loved every bit of it. It
Spoiler
was
warning again if you didn't click off the first one.
Yeah, it was awesome. I think the difficulty was just right.
Well,
Um,
actually, if you're still watching this, make sure to save this video so you can come back to it once you have seen it.
yeah, the whole deal with the hearts going away, and I mean him being able to kill or them being able to kill your hearts in the depth, and I mean initially when we got to him, we were at Boog, spent a good what few hours, hour
Yeah,
or two, battling him with three hearts because they'd taken all our other
yeah,
ones away,
yeah.
and then of course that's a huge disadvantage.
And then
Uh,
when I got past the first phase, and then the second one started, I was like, I just gave up.
Yeah, but he just was doing it for the fun of it. We knew we had to go out and get some more stuff to be able to get our hearts back to have a
Well,
chance.
well, pretty much, I wasn't really thinking. Well, I didn't really think we could actually escape for some reason, even though we could just
Yeah,
easily
you
just
kept
load it
thinking
back
that once we
in.
got to him, you were locked in there and we couldn't leave for some reason. But
We had to keep the game's charm alive, you know. The game tells you that you're locked in there, then you know.
yeah, I knew that couldn't be the case because I died so many times in the final boss of Breath of the Wild
Well,
that
yeah,
came out, got more stuff, came back, came out, got
well,
more
yeah,
stuff, came
but
back.
because the difference between that is that every time you died, it took you back to like before you
And this one didn't. It
entered the
made you,
cutscene.
this one, when you died, you
Well,
had
yeah,
to.
you went back to the first cutscene, but you were already trapped before the first cutscene of the
Yeah.
fight
But
began.
really, so yeah, you did have to replay through some stuff when you left again in this one,
Yeah.
if you didn't beat it the first time. But we had to do it. We had to go back and we did an pretty extensive side quest in was it Helene?
Hateno Village.
Yeah, Tino Village.
Yeah, it took like 2 hours just to do that.
Yeah, there's several side quests that intertwine in that one's one that gets you to basically the Sun Pumpkin. And
And then the dad was paired and they died.
uh,
Yeah, the dad or Link died. He died to the boss.
oh yeah. So basically, going back to Tina Town, when you get that Sun Pumpkin, and then you have your Sundelions, what you find up in the Sky Islands, you mix those together and cook you up the little meal there. That will two or three of those will replace all of your
And
hearts
also another thing,
once you
actually,
get ready to face Ganon,
okay,
and that was enough.
continue.
Um, I mean, I think at that point we probably had what 14, 15 hearts
Yeah.
versus three. So once we got that little puzzle solved,
Yeah, and I
Faced him
actually
to 15 hearts. It wasn't that bad.
beat this one, knocked it
Yeah,
out.
Boog actually defeated him this time. I haven't
Yeah,
been able to do it personally myself.
yeah.
But yeah, Boog did pretty good with it.
Yeah, I did it like the try after you.
Yes, yeah.
And then so pretty much we'll go through the fight. Spoiler warning again.
Okay,
We've said it like 3 times.
right,
So if you haven't clicked off by now, you probably should.
right.
Okay, anyway, if you don't want spoilers. So, um, so pretty much the first phase is pretty much just a standard Ganon fight. You know, that's like you're just facing someone.
Right.
Not specifically Ganon, but it's like a normal fight. Other than he does change magically change the weapons. But
Yeah.
it's in phase two where things stack up. Dad almost passed out when he saw the health bar
Yeah,
go.
first phase, I mean, if you just do the parry or the shield parry, you can get enough blows in him to get through that phase without losing a whole lot of damage, right?
Yeah.
Phase two
So
is a little different.
so pretty much he turned into the real Demon King.
Yes.
Uh,
With twins,
well, with clones.
clones, yeah.
So you don't actually really have to defeat the clones. You it's kind of easy to figure out which
They made it
is
real
the right
obvious on this
one.
one. Now, other ones they didn't make so obvious that they've done like that with that same scheme, but he was very obvious which one he was,
Yeah.
and that's the one
At
you had to
least
stay
for
with.
us.
And your team also helped you fight during that section, which was
Yeah.
nice.
Even though some of them didn't do their job correctly and attack the other Ganons.
True, true, yeah.
Anyway,
Wasn't perfect, but it helps.
so then at the end, when you finally think you defeat Ganon, Dad was breakdancing again.
Yes,
And
right.
then he swallowed the Infinity Stone
Yeah, yeah, that was wild. That was
and
wild.
turned into a
Of course, it
dragon.
made perfect sense. Should have thought that coming because then at that point you know kind of what's happened to Zelda, so it made perfect sense.
And it was
Yeah,
also really terrifying because he actually ripped it out of his face. So
it was very horror
yeah.
movie stuff. Yeah,
And then pretty much he turned into the thing that you saw like circling in the Hyrule Castle in Breath of the Wild.
yeah, which that kind of confuses me if that's actually what we saw, but it did look a lot like it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So and then I guess like all the evil gooey stuff went off. It actually looked like the fire dragon with evilness. It looked
right.
like the evil fire dragon.
Yeah, I think he's called what, the Demon Dragon or something.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
then we have to get help from Dragon Zelda, which Dad failed to inform me about. So pretty much Zelda also swallowed the Infinity Stone. So
yeah, yeah. Earlier on in the story, yes.
okay. So and then you pretty much have to land like on the right spots so you don't get like the gooey damage.
Yeah, that's
And
what
then
the ending is so epic because you're high up in the sky, you're on Zelda, the dragon, and then he's kind of battling back and forth, and you gotta kind of paraglide from her. She'll get up over top of him onto him, and of course he has the naturally glowing, spots that you're supposed to hit. So you gotta land on him, Master Sword, the little sores on his back, and then fly back to Zelda, and then kind of
well, you don't really fly back to Zelda. Zelda pretty much catches
he
you.
knocks you off, and then she comes down and swoops you up. Yeah, it was really epic, totally awesome ending. I loved it. I mean, your own dragons fighting in the sky, it's just great.
And then
So much fun.
the Demon King gets vaporized, and so yeah, so pretty much actually there could be a chance that this timeline isn't over yet.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. I get confused with the timelines. I'm not going to try to
So
put all that together.
so pretty much we'll just make it easily simple. So pretty much I guess the actual Ganon for the timeline, the regular timeline that's in Tears of the Kingdom. Um, yeah, that's in the regular timeline. That Ganon's already sealed away, so he'll probably be back eventually.
Yeah, the only thing I do know as far as time is concerned is obviously by the end of this one, you know that Ganon, like the real physical form Ganon, during Breath of the Wild, is in the bottom of that castle. So everything that you're fighting in Breath of the Wild is just
Well, no, that's
pockets of his energy, I guess.
no. I'm pretty sure this is kind of what it. Okay, but we'll get to. Okay, I guess we might as well get into it. So pretty much, what I think is that pretty much I'm pretty sure if and like the I guess like the full story of all this. So I'm pretty sure the Demon King, when he swallows the Infinity Stone, that's when he becomes that Ganon that we see in Breath of the Wild, where he's like around the castle.
But I don't see how if this is a sequel.
Well,
They would make it a prequel.
well, it kind of is because the Ganon that we see eat the stone is prior Ganon. It's the Ganon that was from the first is like alive during the first of Hyrule. So and then pretty much and then that's how he turns into Calamity Ganon is through that dragon form.
Okay.
So
It's very confusing. I'm
d-
sure there's way smarter people than me out there. I could find a video on YouTube to explain it, but I'm
yeah,
not really sure like how
at
that
least
timeline does because
at
obviously
least
Zelda
that's
does some time travel
yeah.
in this game because she's the sage of time.
Even though they
So
didn't really
yeah,
explain how Zelda was able to get the dragon back to our timeline. I don't think they really
right.
explained
So
that
yeah, I
part.
won't try to guess any more of that. I'll if I can find some videos to explain it, I'll try to explain it next time when I find a good one that I trust. But anyway,
Anyway,
moving along.
so you're
So
saying you don't trust mine? Is that what you're trying to
no,
say?
I do. I just yeah, I'm just not sure.
All right.
Um,
Anyway, so back to the story. So and then pretty much the Dragon Zelda is I don't know. It's kind of dead. I don't know. And then we see Link floating above her. It was really weird because normally like when like things like that happen, he's normally like in his underpants, but they actually kept his pants on, which was quite shocking for at least like because normally when they would do something like that, that he'd be like boxer briefs. But
yeah, right.
anyway, so it's probably best that he kept his pants on, to be honest. Anyway, so and then Link pretty much extends his hand to use the Force or something, and then the king and queen, the first king and queen of Hyrule, is beside Link, and they use the power to turn Zelda back to normal, and then they fall to their death in the lake, but not really. Then Link saves Zelda, and the end.
Yeah, pretty much it.
Okay, so now it's time for our personal takes, I guess. So we'll start with the good. Okay, Dad,
What are we talking about now?
the good.
I think I already did that.
Okay, so we'll move on to the bad now.
Right. Yeah. The only the bad thing is, I guess, if I'd say bad about it, the building system in this game, while it was fun in some aspects, it was also clunky in some aspects. So you can't say I absolutely loved it. Um, but it was still super clever and really imaginative as far as a way of solving puzzles. Um, I think I just would have rather it been used a little bit less. Kind of mixed on that one. Parts of it was great, and then parts of it felt like, I don't want to have to like build something every time I need to, get somewhere or solve a puzzle or whatever. I don't know. I just I didn't totally fall in love with that part of the game. And then the second part I would say was, um,
Our bad part.
or the other bad part that other part I didn't really care a whole lot for was probably the underworld.
Yeah, the underworld.
Just
The
not
underworld.
really. I understand the underworld is not supposed to be a
The
fun
or
place to
the
be,
depths.
or
Correct us.
sorry, the depths. Yeah, but it really just wasn't a lot of fun being down there.
Yeah,
Um,
kind of to me, it felt like a feature that was added, and it's like, okay, why is this here? It didn't really serve a purpose,
yeah,
really.
I guess because there wasn't a whole lot to it down there. It was large, but it was also just not very interesting.
Yeah,
You know, I guess in my book. So, but the Sky Islands and stuff were great. I love that, all of that. It was a ton of fun.
yeah.
Well, that's the only two knocks I have on the entire game, and they're very minor complaints. Like you said, we didn't even have the underworld
We
in
we
the first game.
we really
Um,
didn't. It's like there's kind of like a few
I'll
things.
always take more than less because at least to me, the underworld, now post game, now that we've completed it, it still gives you something else to do, and
To be
you know,
honest, this is kind of what I thought about the Sky World and the depths. They kind of felt like it would be like DLC to Breath of the Wild, where you actually got like a whole entire place somewhere else to explore. And
yeah,
then it's kind of like you have the great one, and then you have the one that we're like, do we really need this? Because the
yeah.
depths has its own storyline, and so does well, kind of. It's kind of like the beginning part is in the Sky World. So, but the Depths
Yes,
like has its own storyline and stuff.
right.
So, and now, is there any buttocks, Dan? There's
No,
a
I
buttock.
think I mean overall, I love the game. Like I
Oh,
said, my complaints are very minor. To me, it's it's right there with Breath of the Wild, probably one of the greatest games of all time.
yeah.
That says a lot, but truly, that's if if I was gonna, if they told me I could only keep one game ever, it would be one of those two copies, I think.
And at the end of this, Dad must
I don't even
decide.
know which one I would pick. That's the thing. I don't know if
Yeah,
I would pick Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom. Yeah.
that we'll get into that later.
Okay.
So, Dad's trying to think about it. So, the only real, I guess, it's kind of, I'm not really putting it there because it's kind of our fault, maybe, but it's the Zelda dragon. The whole entire thing, it might be our fault because it, we didn't do the Dooku Tree side quest because Dad was a baby and chickened out of it. So,
At the time, that was tough. I may go back now that we actually have some
yeah.
good defense armor, but yeah, yeah, that was the hardest part of the game to get.
And I think that'll actually bring Zelda down lower. But but geez, 1 to 2 hours for her to go all the way around the map.
I forgot about that. Yeah, and there's a few
Yeah,
things that you have to kind of have to do to keep progressing your quest, and yeah, waiting around on her for possibly, like you said, an hour or more in real time. That was rough.
yeah, man, yeah, literally, Dad had,
A lot of naps there.
yeah, literally almost went insane because of it.
Yes, yes.
And
So
it takes a lot for a video game to do that.
I agree. They definitely should have had a better way to get to her in a more timely fashion.
Yeah.
Um. Anyway, what else you got?
Which that may or may not be our fault. So if there was one thing that would go with the buttocks, it would probably be that. But for
Okay.
me, there wasn't really anything bad.
Right.
Okay, and now it's time for the moment.
Okay.
Um,
But you didn't give your the stuff that you liked about it.
yeah. So it's mostly the same with Dad. I can't really think of. I did like Dad said. I did really like the final battle against Ganon. Um, and unlike Breath of the Wild, the final one wasn't underwhelming. Right,
You
Dan?
felt like the final was underwhelming in Breath of the Wild?
Kind of. We'll get into that. So, it's time. Which is better, Dad? Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom?
Oh, that's so hard. I don't know. I can't.
And we'll give out our reasons why.
I
Dad, you must do it.
I know it's very very difficult.
The,
I guess.
the
I
fans are
mean,
demanding.
um,
Because it's kind of like, for me, it's like, when you first look at it, you would think, ah, yeah, but Tears of the Kingdom would be way better because it has more stuff. But also, some of that stuff is, underwhelming. Like the depths.
right.
So, and it's like, I feel like, so, and also you have the, like, yeah, you have like your special abilities
Hmm.
that you have in both games. And like both of them both like if like it would probably be way too overpowered if Link was able to use both of them at the same time.
Yeah, yeah, probably would be right. Yeah, because like you said, there's a few little things I like better, like the shooting set or the bow and arrow, as far as uh I loved about the first one. I struggled. Maybe I'll get used to it, but I still struggle with Tears of the Kingdom,
Oh
the
yeah,
arrow
the
attachment
arrow
thing.
attachment.
Yeah, I much preferred having the bombs as just one of my abilities. Boom, boom, there it is. Blow up when I need to.
Yeah.
I preferred that way a whole lot more than having to scroll through and find this bomb plant. And I didn't care for that mechanic of it too much in Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess overall, if you look at the whole thing, like the whole package, um, I mean, you're basically getting Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. You're getting Breath of the Wild again, just with a different
It's
story.
pretty much it's pretty much Breath of the Wild DLC. That's kind of what it feels like to me, at least.
I think it's a lot more than DLC.
It's kind of like this feels like something that would be DLC though. It's
Well, I mean, they
like
reworked the whole story. I mean, so
yeah,
that was
they
definitely different.
it was probably like
Um,
more than that, but it's like it's also like it kind of like feels like DLC. It feels like you're playing DLC because even though it is a new game, because like let's say we have like two things here. One of them could be is like the Sky Island,
mhm.
and then where you get to explore that, and that's where you could get like part of the story for like not the whole thing, like not like the Zelda stuff, but
Yeah.
there's like more to the story where it's like not DLC, but it kind of like at times it does feel like you're just playing Breath of the Wild DLC, pretty much.
Well, and I think what you're saying is just because it's a sequel.
Yeah,
Um, I mean, I definitely feel like it was worth the price, and there was
yeah,
enough
me
new in
too.
there to make it a whole new game,
Yeah,
not just DLC.
yeah.
But like I said, so I guess like I said at the end, if I'm going to pick between the two, because essentially you get the same main world that you got with Breath of the Wild and just extras on it. And again, the story is probably slightly, not that I didn't like the one in Breath of the Wild, but probably slightly improved in Tears of the Kingdom. Um, and the other part is, as far as the depths are concerned, I can completely ignore those if I want to.
Yeah,
It's not required. You don't have to go
yeah.
down there if you don't want.
Unless you want
Um,
100% the game, then you kind of have to go through there.
yeah,
But
yeah. And then, so really, if I choose Tears of the Kingdom, the only thing I have to deal with is kind of the annoying attachments with
and
the bow and
also
arrow
the tree
system.
monsters of death.
Boog hates those. Those don't bother me any. It's kind of nice. I kind of find it's kind of relaxing, being able to cruise around and don't have to deal with these guardians too.
Yeah.
Because yeah, they would nuke you in a heartbeat, or you're just in a knockdown, drag out battle, and all that's just gone. So it's kind of nice. You can have some nice, peaceful walks and some minor fights if you want, without having to be totally annihilated.
Which you could still do in Breath of the
um,
Wild. Just you have to like stay away from Hyrule Field,
Well,
and then you can
or
still do
for
that.
us, yeah, but not until the end when we become like God mode, where we could really
Yeah.
kill those. We could really destroy the
Yeah, but
guardians.
still, you could still do that as long as you avoided Hyrule Hill. You could like get on Buckhurst and then just ride around.
Get around, yeah, just had to
Yeah.
avoid them. So I guess I'm going to choose Tears of the Kingdom as far as which one I would pick. Even though there is something about the opening sequence of Breath of the Wild when you walk on that hill, you kind of just see everything for the first time. It's that will never be replicated. That was just
Yeah.
awesome, one time thing.
The moment.
Yeah, yeah.
The moment Dad
So
knew that
I
this.
guess it's kind of like picking between, like I love the Galaxy Mario games, so it's kind of going, okay, Galaxy One, Galaxy Two, which one you gonna take? Again, I'd probably take two because you get one, but just better. So
Well, some people would probably disagree.
that's where I'm at.
That's kind of a hot take saying that two is better than one.
Really?
Anyway,
Okay.
so mm, it's more difficult for me because pretty much I like Breath of the Wild so much that I was actually I put a whole entire playthrough for it.
Hmm.
I did just play it with Dad pretty much.
Yeah.
I
Playing
have it,
through all by yourself after
yeah,
playing through with me
yeah,
for 5 years.
kind of less than that.
My
Well,
version, my game was 5 years long.
yeah, I was still taking naps and yeah,
Yeah,
but
well, you were still pretty young when Breath of the Wild came out.
yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, this it was kind of like around the time where it was like I was starting to it was like Pokemon was my thing, and I don't know, I guess it was the only great thing. And then we did the Underpants challenge. It showed me the light that there are other greatness, I guess.
Yes.
Which I like I didn't dislike any other Mario games, I guess. Um
Well,
and
your tastes change a lot too as you get older.
yeah,
I mean, that was 6 years ago when Breath of the Wild came out,
yeah.
2017.
Yeah,
So
and
you would have been about eight.
yeah.
So yeah, you change a lot between 8 and almost 14.
Let's see, what was I even doing back then? So back then I'm pretty sure I wasn't as into video games as I am now.
You definitely weren't that into Zelda. That was all
Yeah.
me.
Pretty much, Dad just had to just put me there, cause Um,
Yeah, you're just starting to get into Pokemon because you really didn't play a lot of Pokemon until the Switch.
yeah,
And the Switch was, like I said, obviously 2017, the first Pokemon game to come out for it. And I think that's when you were hooked, whenever that
yeah.
was. Maybe 2018.
No, it was actually 2020 when I actually got into my Pokemon craziness.
Okay.
Because that's when I started. Okay. Anyway, enough of that.
Before
So,
that, you would spend a lot of hours on Lego games, a lot of
so yeah,
those.
that's probably like yeah. So pretty much when I did play video games, it wasn't like hour-long sessions.
No, you did, and you did more of the casual
Yeah, I kind of
games.
yeah. So I played like Mario U, um, a bunch of Lego games,
Yeah.
and pretty much most of the time was I guess playing with my actual toys. I guess.
Yes, yes.
Which, yeah, you could say that would probably been better for me, but it didn't happen. So anyway, back to business. So, so it's got two games that got me into video games that weren't Pokemon. It was Breath of the Wild and Odyssey, Super Mario Odyssey.
I don't know. I think Luigi's Mansion, you put some hours in there too.
Yeah, that was like, well, actually, no, that was before Pokemon craziness.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I still do go back to play Luigi's Mansion 3, which is the best one, in my
Switch
opinion.
version. Yeah, love that game.
Yeah, greatness. Anyway, if you haven't played it, you should. Uh,
Most definitely.
yeah, pretty sure Dad thought it was like probably the. Didn't you say it was probably the best looking game on the Switch at one point?
I still think it is.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
think it's better than Breath of the Wild?
Uh, yeah, I think in a lot of ways, yes, it looks better than Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild struggles because it's really
But
too advanced for the Switch's
but
hardware.
what about Tears of the Kingdom?
I didn't see a whole lot of difference graphically. Did you?
Yeah, no, not really. So I
Because I still
guess
think you're on the same hardware, and they pretty much max it out with Breath of the Wild. I don't on the Switch. I mean, we're as far as we can get. You know, like I said,
yeah.
whatever comes next will be, I'm sure, much better.
Yeah, hopefully Nintendo is working on it because
I'm sure they
yeah.
are. I'm sure they are. I think we're in the last year of the Switch. I think 2024. I don't know if it'll be beginning of the year, middle, or end, but I think 2024 we'll see something
But
else.
also, that's what Dad said at the end of last year.
That is
So,
true. So maybe sitting here this time next year going, okay, well, in 2025, I'm sure we're going to see something else.
and then 2025, 2026, we're gonna see the new console. Please, Nintendo. And then 2026, Dad's a skeleton with it.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, no.
But I will say this as far as the next Switch goes. I mean, in the beginning, like way back in 2017, I remember when the Switch was coming out, Nintendo did say this was a 10-year deal. But I think most people interpreted that to mean that, um, there would be a Switch Pro or something.
Which there kind of was. OLED, I
Yeah.
guess, kind of was
But
Switch Pro, I guess.
well,
Kind
no, I
of.
mean, but Pro would be like upgrading the actual hardware.
Uh,
The LED
well,
just upgraded the screen and
yeah.
battery. Nothing else about it's different.
And also gave us
Um,
vivid screen
yeah, the
thing.
screen looks great. It does. It's a much better screen. I'll give them that. But it doesn't have any more power, no more
Yeah.
juice than the original Switch. So yeah, but I think, like I said, I don't think people really thought that they were going to actually stick with the same exact hardware for 10 years. But who knows? Maybe they did. Maybe it'll be,
And
2027 before something pops out. We'll see.
yeah, in 2068,
Yeah.
Dad with the whole entire beard by then. So just stubble like I see on the videos.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm in office week, so I had to shave.
Uh,
That'll end tonight or in the morning.
yeah. So pretty much, yeah. So it's kind of like, I don't know. There are things that I do enjoy more than Tears of the Kingdom that are in Breath of the Wild.
Okay, like what?
Like, it's kind of difficult for me to choose which story I like more because if you want the story of Breath of the Wild, then you have to work for it,
Right.
and I think that it is worth it
Okay.
because of that. So,
I got very confused with those photographs. I was very overwhelmed. I just couldn't do that.
yeah.
So, But anyway, go
But
ahead.
if Dad actually put the time in, then he
Yeah,
probably would have.
I'm not big into photography, so
Yeah. Other than videos, that's it.
right.
Anyway, so the bosses in Breath of the Wild were better, pretty much. Other than it's difficult for actually, I guess we could technically class both. I guess Dark Beast and Calamity Ganon are two separate boss fights, technically.
I think so.
So Dark Beast is so pretty much if you just remove Dark Beast and have Calamity Ganon as the final boss, would probably be better.
Okay.
Um, but and then I think like overall the bosses were were better than in Tears of the Kingdom. Like you have Thunderblight, which is um pretty challenging. It's actually more challenging than Calamity Ganon for me.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, they were
Um,
both very difficult, but yeah.
and then and then like
Is that the one where you gotta shove that
that's the one
tower
that,
up its butt?
no, that's yeah, kind of. And then Water Blight Ganon, like pretty much you have a lot more memorable bosses other than things that look like casual enemies. And actually in the depths you can find them as the bosses as casual enemies.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay. You definitely explored the depths on than I
that's
did.
the biggest problem I have with the Tears of the Kingdom bosses, that they just seem like normal enemies.
Bosses should be, yeah, they should be memorable and they should not be repetitive. Yeah, I'd have to say too, Tears of the Kingdom. It's not a boss, but just the way they kind of dove into the dragon thing a lot. Like there was dragons in Breath of the Wild, but it's like a whole new level now. So not only do you have the ones in the sky that play a big role, but you also have versions on the ground, with three heads and that kind of thing, and that
Yeah,
is just awesome. I have not
yeah.
fought one yet. Well, I fought and
And
lost, but
Dad still
I
has
have
not
not beat one yet.
Dad is
I
still not
still
defeating a
I
Lionel
appreciate
yet.
the fact that they're there. Still haven't defeated Lionel yet. I guess I
Mm.
need to do that. But
Let's hope. Okay,
I
anyway.
love how they kind of dove into, double down on dragons in this one. I wish they
Okay.
would have done some snakes. Snake fights. Snakes are great bosses, and they could have done some really. What's the one in Harry Potter? Kind of like the
Vassal.
vassal type. Yeah,
Yeah.
fights would have been great. But anyway,
Yeah, that's probably
maybe next time.
my biggest problem with Tears of the Kingdom, other than the Zelda thing, is that the bosses just feel like normal enemies.
Okay.
And they're pretty much kind of are normal enemies. You can find them as such in the depths.
Well, like you said, I mean, you've got the Lionels, and then you've got the three-headed dragons that are way tougher than most of the boss battles.
Speaking of the Lionels, I actually really like the Lionels like addition to both of them
Okay.
because it gives you a different enough boss to where it's like it's kind of it's like you're facing an enemy that it's like it feels like it has like a lot of like mystique to it. Like I kind of give like it kind of gives me like Guardian of the Land
And
vibes.
that's what they were.
If
They're
that
kind of
makes
bosses of their little areas. Like the one is the one dragon's in a coliseum. Like you said,
yeah,
the uh what are they called? The ones you like?
chalices.
No, the Lionels.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, they kind of boss their little area. Like the
Yeah.
one three-headed dragon is on the bridge, so it's pretty aw yeah, it's pretty awesome.
And
They're
it
just extremely tough, but
yeah.
it's not something that's even required for the story. You don't have to beat any of that
Well, technically you
to
do
beat the game. You
because
do?
well you can. It's kind of like it's kind of there's like if you take like a specific way to do it, then you can, but it's not like fully like necessary. Like pretty much if you're too lazy to go all the way to Gerudo Town to go and buy shock arrows, you could go defeat um for the Varuda I guess I guess it's kind of a boss fight for the Divine Beast, but like to enter the Divine Beast, you could just buy them.
Okay,
And but if you don't want to do that, you could go fight Lionel. That'll give you like a lot of shock arrows.
got it.
Anyway, so yeah. So and then Calamity Ganon It's real. This is really like the thing that is like the hard part is which this will probably tell me which one is better. Phanta Demon King Ganon or Calamity Ganon because it feels okay. At the end of the game, it should like if you have like when you have to like learn techniques and stuff. It feels like you will need to have mastered all of those techniques at the end of a boss fight for the
Yeah,
final
seriously,
boss.
I mean, Breath of the Wild definitely, yeah, kind of raised you up in that way.
Yeah,
You had to learn certain things, yeah, that you end up having to have in the boss fight. If you couldn't do it, you wouldn't beat them. Like, like the parry attack. I mean, if you
yeah.
couldn't do the parry attack, there's no way you're going to beat a few of
Which
those boss fights.
yeah, which Dad actually didn't know the parry. Pretty much the parry does make Calamity Ganon a lot easier. But also it's like every single boss should have like that like one weakness that you have to figure out. And and um Demon King Ganon doesn't really have that really. He kind
No,
of
he's just a straight on fight without much of a puzzle.
yeah,
Yeah, it's just to him,
he's
he
kind
just
of
brings it.
it's kind of like
I mean, kind of. You had to have your shield parry.
yeah,
You use that a lot, and that's really all you had to have.
yeah.
I haven't practiced that move that much. That was new for this game, so so I'm not sure how difficult that is to pull off, but that's pretty much what he used, and it worked brilliantly.
Um and then um yeah, it kind of feels like yeah, Dad kind of cheats a lot. You
That's
guys can kind of figure that out. I really don't know how this transitions to that, but so pretty much Dad likes to look up DVDs of the bosses. Even though I did limit him into that
that's what I'm getting into.
in Tears of the Kingdom because I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
you gotta try at least
And it's
once
your own
before
personal,
he
yeah,
watches
it's
the
your own
video.
personal choice. Like you said, if you want
Yeah.
to go in there and figure out their puzzle, that's great. More power to you. Usually, I'll take a little peek ahead and just be like, "Oh, okay, that's what I got to do." You know.
Yeah, but it's kind of like and also it feels like
But for
the
Ganon, it wasn't necessary, and I never watched the video on Ganon.
yeah. Or which game
Any of it.
is
The only
it?
thing I did was is when we got down there and I realized that we're having to face him with three hearts. I'm like, there has to be a way to replenish these broken hearts.
Oh,
Um,
I think you did look up a DVD for Calamity Ganon.
um, no, I don't think that I
No,
did.
no, I think. Oh wait, no, you did. In our underpants run, I think.
Um,
I remember you pulled up at least a.
Oh, you talking about the Breath of the Wild?
Yeah,
Oh, yes, I looked up lots of those. Yeah, because he was so tough. Right.
yeah,
Oh yeah, I watched a lot of
I
them.
kind of feel like this is kind of like
And none of them helped. I just had to learn the parry attack
this is like
and hold on for dear life. Run a lots.
this is like pretty much so for like it's kind of like watching Dad do it. It kind of gave me the feeling that it's like okay, this is like difficult game.
Yeah, and with Calamity Ganon, I mean, it was total chaos. You got stuff coming in all over the place. He's this big, huge, wicked creature thing.
Yeah,
I mean, it just felt like total chaos. So yeah, I mean, I had to get through that with, like I said, the parry attack, getting the hits on him when I could, and hauling butt during all his mayhem that he brings, and of course, Gerudo's protection. Without Gerudo's protection,
Direct protection.
Daruk's protection, yeah, it never would have happened. You use it a lot in the very beginning to get some licks in on him. Then, of course, it goes away, and then it's what, at least 5 to 10 minutes of just hauling butt, waiting for it to build back up.
Well,
Um,
that's what you do when you don't know the parry attack.
yes. So that's pretty much what I did. All right, I think
Yeah.
we can wrap this up. We're getting close to an
Okay.
hour. Anything else you want to add for Tears of the Kingdom?
So I think I've come to the decision.
Okay.
I think, in my opinion, I think Breath of the Wild is superior.
Okay.
In my opinion,
All right.
it's mainly because of the bosses, because they're pretty much the exact same game,
Right.
close to it at least.
Gotcha. You just prefer the boss in the first one.
Yeah, and also I feel like the runes are also like better, and also so are I. So there's kind of like they have their the points with the with like the I guess helpers I'll call them.
Hmm.
So for
The team.
in Breath of the Wild, you don't actually see them. They're kind of just there. Well, it's kind of because they're kind of dead. Yeah.
Yeah,
So and
you kind of
then
just have their abilities, but they're not like really physically there with you,
and then
like they are in Tears of the Kingdom. Yeah.
yeah. So, and then in Tears of the Kingdom, like Dad said, they're actually like, or at least they're not like physically there. They're kind of just imaginary there, I guess.
Yeah, but I I didn't really like that part either in a lot of ways because a lot of it just got really annoying. I mean, I
Yeah.
don't know. It was just startling to have them show up. Sometimes I think, I mean, like, who is this? Because there's so many of them.
And one time Dad looked up and just Tulin was just staring into his
Oh
soul.
yeah, I attacked. I guess just from Guardian. So, you got Guardian thing programmed in your head for so many hours with Breath of the Wild that the one chick you get towards the end, the robotic looking lady. I tried to destroy her several times. She would pop up because I thought she was an enemy. Before I
Yeah.
remembered, oh yeah, she's me. But
And
anyway,
then, so I actually kind of liked the Guardians. Like they kind of felt like it was like, kind of similar to the Lionel, just a little bit worse, I guess. It doesn't feel like they're like Guardians, but it feels like an actual like challenge, I guess.
serious challenge. You're
Yeah.
right. Yeah, Breath of the Wild was
So,
very tough.
and also kind of like my like when I like like when I think of a Zelda game, it like being difficult is kind of what I first think of.
Yeah, that's your
For me at
expectation.
least,
This
yeah.
is going to be hard.
Yeah.
All right.
Which
All
there
right,
were hard
folks.
parts of it, but it was mostly because it was annoying.
Gotcha.
Anyway, I think it's time to
Well, that's our
wrap
thoughts
this
on
up.
Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild. I hope you enjoyed the video.
I really don't
Let
know
us
how we got
know
thoughts
what you
on Breath
guys
of the
thought
Wild.
about Tears of the Kingdom in the comments, and what you thought. Better, or worse than Breath of the
And
Wild. The
also,
same.
please be polite to your other commenters, I guess.
Right. Right.
For I guess,
Always.
yeah.
Yeah. All right. Take care, everybody, and we'll see you in the next video.
Okay, guys, in this video, make sure to like and subscribe for some more awesome, well, I guess, big dad thoughts fun.
See you next
Bye.
time.